turn up a bit your volume.
Yeah, actually, I think there is some error. I am not able to share the screen. If you would like to help me and to share my presentation.
Uh, Hello, Asari.
Yes, you can listen me. I'm sharing the screen, but I'm not able to show my slides. So thank you very much for providing me the opportunity to present this very important topic in this very important conference. And the topic of my, research paper was that content analysis of Western media smear against China on Xinjiang. So first of all, I would like to have some seconds to introduce the introduction of my academic research paper, and it is about that the China. We all know that is a multi-ethnic country, and in this course of civilization that dates back to more than 5,000 years, the various ethnic groups of China have created a long history and splendid culture. And since ancient times, many ethnic groups have made their way to Xinjiang, and it has become their home and a place for cultural integration. So, various ethnic cultures of Xinjiang have their roots in the fertile soil of Chinese civilization, advancing their own cultural development while encouraging the overall culture of China. So I have tried to show some of the very basic facts and figures that the Western media have never shown in their reports. And these are the figures about the real religious situation in Xinjiang. That describes that there are more than 20,000 mosques in the region, and about 29,000 clerical personnel are deputed in these mosques to guide the religious followers of Islam. And we see that there are 103 Islamic associations at all levels available in the Xinjiang. And up to date, China Islamic Institute and Xinjiang Islamic Institute and its branches have trained more than 4,000 students, and who are helping the followers to understand the basic spirit of the religion. So the very important thing which I came to know about Xinjiang while doing the research is that there are more than 40 Islamic publications in different ethnic minority languages, and that are distributed in China's Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region. And it is, very falsely claimed by Western media that there are no ethnic minority languages, and there is a ban on ethnic minority languages in Xinjiang. But the case is very different. And I found in this research that you can find the Islamic, literature for the Muslims in Xinjiang in various ethnic minority languages. And the sacred, religious book, the Quran, and the selections from the Sahih al-Bukhari have been published in standard Chinese, Uyghur, Kazakh, and Kyrgyz languages for the followers. And it was very interesting to note that the Chinese government and the Xinjiang, provincial government have arranged the special chartered planes for the Islamic people in Xinjiang for performing their Umrah and Hajj in Saudi Arabia. And the Muslims, in the region, they are freely celebrating their two religious festival, Eid al-Fitr, Eid al-Qurban, and they are free to follow the Islamic month of, Ramadan. So, and there is some, I would like to mention, the next slide is history of Uyghurs in the region, and it dates back to 744 and then 788. And these are the people who are living in the region. And other than this, there are other ethnic minorities, and they are living very peacefully, and we can trace their peaceful living style and standards in the history. And then the very important thing is the next slide is Xinjiang GDP and population. We never see in the Western media that they will present the good development and progress of the economic situation of the Xinjiang and the rising population, increasing population of the ethnic minorities in the region. From 1955 to 2020, Xinjiang's GDP and per capita GDP respectively increased about 160 times and 30 times at the constant price to reach 1.4 trillion yuan. It is about $216.2 billion. And I can, I can bet that it is better than many of the countries of the world. So Xinjiang has been really doing a great job in improving its local GDP and the per capita income of its people. And there is very important Alata Pass, and it has launched 28 China-Europe free train routes linking over 20 countries in Central Asia and Europe. And Western media will never present this developing situation of the Xinjiang, that the free train routes of the region are connecting 20 countries, and the train passing through this Alata Pass are connecting Europe and the Central Asia. And one more important thing is that this Xinjiang is a basic and the starting point of China-Pakistan economic corridor. And this is a corridor which is a flagship project of the Belt and Road Initiative. And this corridor is opening a new avenues of trade with the world for China, Pakistan, and the region. So I think that this is the reason that Xinjiang is a very developing region, very good region, prospering region. That's why Western media and other American media outlets, they are maligning the Xinjiang to snub the development. But in my research, I have found that they will their efforts will fail. So the gross domestic product of GDP of the Northwest China's Xinjiang have increased about 160 times in 65 years, and it is again better than many of the countries of the world. So and about the Xinjiang population, it has reached 25.85 million by October 2020, and a rise about 4.04 million from the country's sixth population census. And Han ethnic group accounts for 42.24%, while ethnic minorities comprises 57.67%. So you can see that how the population of the ethnic minorities in Xinjiang is increasing. So now we go to the next slide. That is about the vocational training centers. And these are the centers that are really changing the lives of the locals. The people who are not well educated, they are being offered the vocational training in various sectors to become a good citizen and a profitable citizen of the society. So these are the training centers who have helped in de-radicalization campaign. And these are the centers which are dubbed or claimed by the Western media as the detention centers. So I would like to say that the Western media have never proved a single evidence of the detention camps, even or a satellite photo. The Western media or the Western governments, they have very sophisticated technology to trace various things around the globe. But as to date, it is can be said that all of their technologies they have failed, because there are no detention camps in Xinjiang. They are just falsely claiming about these vocational education centers to be dubbed as detention centers. So these are the detention centers that the theory of the detention centers is very wrongly propagated by Western media. So now we move to the East Turkestan Islamic movement, and this is the an organization, a band, and a terrorist organization that have damaged and killed hundreds of people in the region. And no one in the Xinjiang region or in South Asia or in Central Asia wants to see their activities. This is a kind of a movement that is really supported by the Western media and some of the Western governments. And we can see that the America recently in the last year have removed the terror slogan of this East Turkestan Islamic movement and removed this organization from the terror list. That shows that the encouragement of America towards this organization. And we can see that in one of the research, I found that the ETIM have the basis in the neighboring, in Afghanistan and in the neighboring borders of Pakistan and Afghanistan and in some of the Central Asian countries. And they have spread till Syria, and they have made their connections with Al Qaeda and ISIS. And recently we have seen a bus attack in Kohistan, the Dasu area. And recently Pakistani Foreign Minister and the ISI Director General Lieutenant General Faiz Hamid, they have visited Beijing and met with Chinese officials, and they have assured that the perpetrators of this attack will be snubbed. And the one of the leading newspaper of Pakistan, Express Tribune, have claimed that the members of the ETIM were involved in the Dasu attack. So this is a kind of an organization that is now disturbing the very brotherly relationship of Pakistan and China. But we believe that Pakistan and China have passed all of the test of the times, and unitedly and together, Pakistan and China can eliminate the elements of ETIM in the region, and the CPAC and the Belt and Road Initiative will prosper fastly. Then we go to the next slide, UN Security Council monitoring report. It states that the ETIM have bases in Afghanistan, in Syria, and some of the Central Asian countries, and they are freely moving in these countries to carry on their activities. But recently the delegation of the Afghan Taliban, they have visited China, and we see some of the reports that now Afghan Taliban have committed that they will not allow any of the militant group to act against China. So we believe that the movements of this group will be contained in Afghanistan or in other areas. So for this research paper, I would like to explain that how I conducted the research about the theoretical framework. There is a propaganda model has been suggested for the purpose of this study to understand how Western media reports issues worldwide. So the propaganda model was represented by Edward Herman and Noam Chomsky in his book, The Manufacturing Consent, in 1988. So according to Edward Herman and Noam Chomsky, the propaganda model focuses on that the money and the power are able to filter out the news fit to print, magazine, dissent, and allows the government and dominant private interests to get their messages across the public. So there are 5 major points of this propaganda model represented by Noam Chomsky. That is about the size of the media, that if the size of the media is very big and they are working around the globe, so their stories or their claims will be accepted by the readers around the globe. And then there is an advertising factor, that whatever the organizations, advertising organizations are paying to the media for their fundings, they will definitely to the opinion of those advertising agencies. And then there is a reliance of the media on information provided by the government. So government is always their source of information, so they rely on the government. And there is another point that is a fact, that there is a tradition of talking about something repeatedly in the Western media, and they talk about in the same pattern and the narratives. And there is a need of the money that is being facilitated by the governments and some other organization. Then I would like to talk about the literature review section, in which I have mentioned that the State Council Information Office of the People's Republic of China in the 2020 authored a paper on employment and labor rights within the region. And this paper elaborates that it is argued that as per the nation's significant strategies on the work and the general arrangement. And then we move towards the research methodology. I have choose the qualitative content analysis of the Western media outlets, and I have picked some of the articles by the convenient sampling for my study. And there are some of the Western media articles I have mentioned in this presentation as well. There is an article by one of the Western media outlets, and the title is that WHO, who are the Uyghurs and why is China being accused of genocide? So this article falsely claims the genocide of the Uyghur Muslims in the region, and you can see the picture. It is done by BBC. You can see the picture that how Uyghur people are being presented via photos in the Western media. And this photo shows the agony and the sympathies of the Uyghur people. They will never show the Uyghur people happy lives and the prosperity and the developing the good faces of these people. Then there is another article of the Western media that argues that the China can lock up 1 million Muslims in Xinjiang at once. So this is the headline by another Western media articles. They will always claim that these vocational education training centers are the detention camps. They will falsely, narrate all of the development. Then there is another article by Western media that was that China draconian repression of Muslims in Xinjiang, and you can see some of the pictures that are being presented with this article. That there are the people having the chains in their foot, and there is the picture, the false picture, the painted pictures of a detention camp. It is not the real picture. Then you can see a person is being beaten by the security forces, and you can see two other pictures that are falsely painted by the Western media outlets to present with their news stories. And we can see another story that break their lineage and break their roofs. And you can always see such kind of photos with these articles to present their claims. A security person is having a baton or a gun in his hand, standing outside of the building. So they represent these buildings at the detention camp. So that in the paper I have some comparison of the Chinese media and Pakistani media with those Western media outlets, how the Pakistani or the Chinese media is debunking the lies of the Western media outlets of these stories. So I have exposed the incorrect reporting. I have mentioned one of the Global Times stories who says that the Muslims in the region or the Yogur people are free to practice their religion. And then there is a story by the China Global Television Network. It states that the fake and the sensational how Western media choose their Xinjiang story. So they always have their own particular narratives. So these are two pictures by these are with this article that how Chinese media and the Pakistani or the friendly countries media of China is presenting the real picture of the Xinjiang people. So you can see the picture of the CGTN article that Muslims religious freedom fully respected, warranted in China. So, but the Western media is negatively presenting another side and only the one side. So China have always denied the allegations by presenting the white papers that claim the real situation of the Xinjiang. So at the end, I have mentioned some of my work examples on Xinjiang. I have from last 5 to 6 years, I have been writing on the development of Xinjiang, the progress and prosperity of the region. These are some of the videos, images attached here. You can see I have always tried my level best to present the real situation of Xinjiang to the
Excuse me,
Pakistani
Asadi.
readers and audience.
Excuse
And
me, Asadi.
these are kind of notes. I have mentioned that the Western media have always, maintained their narrative, and they do not, present any of the single photo or the video evidence of about their claims. So these all are the stories by the Western media do not have any solid grounds in the reality. And some of the recommendations that I think that the Chinese central government and the Xinjiang government, they must engage with the media outlets, especially of the developing countries and the Muslim countries that are being targeted by the Western media outlets to malign the minds of the readers. So I believe the more and more exchanges of the media outlets, the scholars, the think tanks, and the NGOs towards Xinjiang will be helpful to present the real prospering and the developmental situation of the region. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Asadi's speech left an impression that he exactly noticed the development of Xinjiang, which is very important for Xinjiang and for the people who live there. And that's the most important human right, I think. I'm sorry for the internet problem, Gulam. And due to this pandemic, we have to depend on the internet to help our communication. And welcome. We sincerely hope to hear your speech. Gulam.
Thank you so much. Actually, I'm not able to display my presentation here because I'm online through my cell phone. Fortunately, I have some issue with my laptop, that's why I couldn't use it. So, is it possible? I have sent my presentation by email, so I don't know the process that how it will be used through cell phone, because I do not see any option here. Will it be possible from you to make it online there, sir? Or
Can
should I
hear.
continue it without it?
So you just do your presentation, ignore the PowerPoint issue.
Hello.
We can hear you.
Okay. Should I continue?